Right guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I am going to show you how to paint up a Primaris Deathwatch Marine. Now obviously this can be applied to a regular Deathwatch Marine, a Terminator, even your Dreadnoughts. So I've sprayed this guy black. This is a Primaris Hellblaster. I've swapped the shoulder pad out for the Deathwatch one. And he looks a little bit glossy. The spray paint has dried slightly shiny, but my photography lamps are actually making it look a lot more glossy than what it is. It's not gloss black, believe it or not, it is actually matte black. So, first colour that we're going to do is Eshin Grey. And what we're going to do with Eshin Grey is we're basically going to highlight all of the edges of the armour plates and everything around each of the armour plates. So I'm using a medium layer brush here. You might want to use a small layer brush, but what I'm doing is basically painting along the edges of all of the armour plates. So with that bit, just going over the tips of the toe pads and around the edge, the knee pad over the top there. What we're also going to do is with other areas, for example, if we go to the back of the leg, you can see there is some recesses in there. We're also actually going to go like around them recesses and working into that. So there you go, just covering the edges like that. And we're going to continue around the whole model. Now bearing in mind that you don't actually need to do this arm, because this whole arm is going to be getting painted silver. So we'll come back in a few moments when I've finished all of that. Right, so once we've done all the army, you can see there that I've done right around the sides, on the shoulder pauldrons, over the tops of the shoulder pad, and of course around the helmet there as well. What we're going to do is basically do a smaller highlight using a small layer brush, and we're going to use Dawnstone for this. So you only want a little bit of paint. What we're going to do is basically trace these lines, but not actually cover all of what we've done. So on the foot there, just about half of what we've covered otherwise. And obviously on the corners, and just over the top of the knee pads. And then this piece here, for example, we'll just do the bottom corner rather than the whole lot. And the same on the back here, so just that little bit. Again, just the small points around the edges. So with this one, we've obviously done the Eshin Grey right around the edge here. So I will just tiny bit on the tips there, and of course the bottom of the armour plates down here. So it's just picking out the cornered areas, try and accent which bits you want to do. So I'm going to do the rest of this leg as well, and we'll come back in a second. Okay, so now that that is done, we're then going to start with the silver. I'm using lead belcher, and I'm basically going to cover the whole arm on this side. And then we'll start working on the guns as well, and other places we can add the silver on too, because there's quite a few. But I like Deathwatch Marines because they don't really take that long to paint up. They're actually quite quick in comparison to Blood Angels, especially. I find anyway. So of course I'm going to paint all the way down the arm as well. With this one being a plasma, I am doing quite a bit of the plasma itself silver. So the whole front half of the gun is going to be silver. This whole bottom half here is going to be silver. The energy coil in the middle here will be silver. And then a few other bits and pieces that we're going to do as well. So, the vents on the side of the mask. Handle for the bow pistol. The reactor part of the backpack. And the exhausts. And then what I'm going to do is just drag my brush lightly over the back vents, almost kind of dry brushing them. And then of course I'm going to finish the arm off. Okay, so now we've done the silvers, we're now going to also paint some of the pouches brown. So you can see here the bow pistol holster and the little grenade pouch, and we're actually going to paint these up with Rhinox hide. And it's a nice and dark shade of brown, which highlights up really, really nicely. With Mournfang, which we'll be doing in a second. So as noted as well actually is that I did paint the vents here silver. A lot of people would just dry brush them, but I like doing them silver just to try and break up the black armour a little bit. Ooh, a tiny bit of brown on there. There we go, and it's as easy as that. Next up though, we're going to use corn red for the gun. Now obviously with this being a plasma, there is slightly less red on it than a bolt gun, but nevertheless I'll still be able to show you exactly what we're going for. So with corn red, I'm going to be painting all of this piece of the gun. Now it doesn't matter if you get any on where the plasma's going, because we're going to be painting the plasma a different colour in a little while. Now obviously with the plasma you can go any colour you want, but I don't know, I found that purple works quite well for me, and I like the way the purple pops against the black. But you could literally go any colour. You could probably get away with a nice yellow, a really bright green. I actually do my power weapons green, although this guy doesn't have a power weapon. If you keep watching till the end of the video, I'll also tack on the end how I paint the power weapons for me Deathwatch Marines. Okay, so there we go, the red is also done as well. Now next up, we're going to be using Null Oil Wash. We're going to cover all the silver, the brown and the red, just to dull the whole lot down. Especially the red, because I like really dark grimy red, but we will be highlighting it back up with corn red in a little while, so don't worry if it looks a little bit dark. But we're also going to put the Null Oil all over all of the silvers. Of course we are going to put it right up the just a second, my Null Oil keeps closing. All over the shoulder pad, right in the arms and everything. There we go, we're even going to put the Null Oil on the brown. And of course on the rest of all of the silver as well. Okay, so there we go. Once that is done, we're then going to dry brush all the silver with Necron Compound. And I'm going to use a small base brush to do this. And it's literally just so we can highlight up all of the silver and just make it that little bit brighter. Necron Compound is a great dry paint. And it makes, you know, highlighting silvers very, very easy, and it makes them look really cool as well. So we're just dry brushing a little bit there, of course over the silver. Now what I'm going to do is, I didn't do it earlier, but I'm now going to dry brush this black here, just so that essentially you get two different grains of silver almost. So obviously you get the brighter one, which is the Necron Compound on top of Lead Belcher. And then you get the Necron Compound just on top of black. So I'm just going to grab a little bit more. And we're also going to highlight all the other bits of silver that we've got as well. So I'm just building the layers up very slowly. You can see there as you go over it, it's just brightening it up that little bit more. And there's Facebook. There we go. So next we're going to highlight up the red, and we're going to use corn red. So we're then going to dry brush the corn red just over the top of the red again. Now it doesn't bring it up too bright because the corn red is still very dark, but it takes away from as much oily feel as what you get with the Null Oil being on there, and just brightens it up that little bit more. But we will come back in and actually highlight it up further with Mephiston red. So I've actually missed a little bit there. There we go. And then we'll highlight it up with Mephiston red. Now you can do this one of two ways. You can either dry brush it like what I've just done, or you could literally just paint the lines straight onto it. So with Mephiston red, I'm gonna just paint the lines along each of the crevices here, much like we did the armour with the grey and the black. This is actually a little bit hard to see on the camera for some reason. Flip it over and do the other side as well. Of course, this is the same method that you would use if you're using the bolt guns as well. Okay, so next to highlight up is going to be the browns on the shoulder, not the shoulder pads, the pouches. So using your small layer brush, and just drag it along the corners of the pouches, like that. Okay, so next up we're going to apply some Zandri dust to the skull on the insignia on the side, and I only actually apply it to the skull itself and the 4 bones coming off it. Now at this point as well, when I'm using the Zandri dust, I would also double check the model, see if I've got any patchwork, scroll work or purity seals. And I would also do the purity seal, the kind of parchment part of it, in Zandri dust as well. As it stands though, this guy doesn't have any. Don't know why the Primaris don't have them, but yeah, you'd normally find them, for example, down here on the bottom corner or on the wrist here. But this guy's only got that one piece. Sometimes you might have a skull on the helmet, or some parchment on the front of the bolter here as well. Okay, next up I'm going to use Zeros Purple, and this is going to be for the eyes. I also paint the wax part of any purity seals Zeros Purple as well, and I'm going to be doing my plasma in Zeros Purple. So, strangely enough, to paint the eyes, it's actually easier to flip the model upside down so that you can get right in to the gap there. I don't know what it is about this, flipping them upside down, but it genuinely is a lot easier. So again, if I had the parchment and purity seal here, I would paint the wax circle this colour as well. And in this instance, I'm also going to paint the plasma. I'm not going to worry about highlighting or washing the plasma, and you'll see why in a few moments. I just want to get that base coat down and cover all parts of it. There we go. And then the last part of the eyes, I'm actually going to use Gene Stealer Purple, which is quite a lot brighter, and just touch up about half of the eye. Obviously we painted most of the eye with Zeros Purple. I'm literally just going to put a small dab of Gene Stealer Purple in the very corner. So I'm using again my small layer brush. Your detail brush might actually be better to do this. It's just I've got this one to hand. And there we go. And believe it or not, right, this guy actually isn't far from being finished, because Deathwatch are remarkably quick and easy to paint. I'm going to use Agrax Earthshade on the skull on the side, just to darken it down, ready to highlight it up. And I'm going to be using Ushabti Bone to highlight the bone up. So if we get the Agrax Earthshade, and it's literally only a tiny bit that I need. just to paint over the pauldron. There we go, so we'll let that dry and we'll come back with the Ushabti bone. You may have noticed as well that I haven't done anything with this shoulder pad. This is your standard marine shoulder pad, so you could do it any way that you want. You can paint it a flat colour and put a transfer on. If you've seen the tutorial for how I put this shoulder pad on, you can actually do exactly the same with this side if you've got moulded ones as well. Another thing that we can do is we can actually add heat bloom to the end of the plasma gun, which we might do in a few moments, but something I did forget to do is use the Zeros purple just to fill in them small little gaps of plasma coils there. There we go. So if you want to see the tutorial on how to basically put the scorch effect on the end of guns, there's two available. There is one using washes to achieve that effect, and there's another one using the airbrush to get that effect. So go and check that out. So here we go, we've just now got the Ushabti bone to highlight on the edge of the pauldron, and it's a case of just very lightly dry brushing the Ushabti bone over the top of the skull, and it naturally just kind of highlights it. Again, just using that technique where you just drag the brush ever so slightly over the top of the raised surface. And it's that easy. You'll notice as well, I've done the wash method. Sorry, it's a bit out of focus. I've applied washes to the end here. I do need to add a little bit more purple and then another blue, but basically it's just building up layers. But we're almost done. I'm now going to get the airbrush ready, and we're going to actually do the plasma glow. Okay guys, here we go. So I'm using Alien Purple by Vallejo in the airbrush, and I'm basically going to very lightly airbrush some purple over the top of the plasma glow, and of course on the plasma coils there as well. We're going to try and have a little bit of glow overflowing onto the arm, just so there's that little bit of purple on the arm as well. So forgive me if I'm slightly off shot. I'm trying to do this around the camera. And I'm going to blow just a little bit into the red just to try and blend it out, look like the light is going over. You'll see there as well, a little bit of the purple has gone over onto the silver as well. And there you go, you can see a tiny bit has gone on the shoulder, the shin pad there. It looks like it's a lot more on the camera because of the light, the more it actually is, but you've got a little bit there on the arm as well. And then what I'm going to do is just lighten it down even more by adding a little bit of Vallejo white in with the mix, so that we've got a slightly lighter purple in addition to obviously what it already looks like there. So we'll just give that a bit of a mix in the airbrush, just so that it is considerably lighter. Then what we're going to do is just spray it in the middle of Okay, so there we go, he's now finished off, and you can see that the white that I added has highlighted the plasma right in the middle. We've got the glow going over his arm a tiny bit on the front of his knee pad there as well, and of course just coming down the front of the gun. And we've got the heat bloom on the edges as well. Now I haven't painted his shoulder pad for a reason. I want you guys to tell me what chapter you want this Marine from. So whichever one gets the most upvotes, so if someone comments Blood Angels, if you want it to be a Blood Angel, thumb them up and it'll become a Blood Angel. Basically, if someone's already commented, thumb it up. If no one's commented, leave a comment. And what we'll do is, 1 week from the release of the Deathwatch Codex, I will repaint this guy's shoulder pad to the chapter that he is chosen from. So yeah, that is the base that I've done from the basement tutorial, and of course that is the Hellblaster that we've done as well. And that is my third Hellblaster for the Deathwatch army, and you can expect to see the other two coming out very, very soon, and hopefully getting into some Primaris kill teams. But if you're interested in doing a little bit more, I'm now going to show you how I do my power weapons. So here we go, guys, with the power weapons. This is a Reaver, and of course I've chopped the normal knife off and I've used one of the Deathwatch swords from the upgrade sprue. And what I'm going to do first is I've painted it Warpstone Glow, so it's had 2 coats, so it's nice and thin and flat. And what we're going to do is we're going to use Vallejo Oscarpina Green, and we're going to spray this up the side of the power sword to about, you know, a nice solid coat of halfway, and then blend it out after that. So there you go, you can see it blending quite nice. And the reason I've put the kitchen roll between the model and that is so because I don't want any overspray on the armour, not unlike the plasma glow that you've just seen. So there we go, that's now dry, and now we're going to use light livery green by Vallejo, and we're just going to do the top quarter. You have to be very careful with this. This paint is actually very, very watery compared to the others. And there we go. What you can do is, once that's all dry, you could wash it with Waywatcher Green if you want it to pop and be a little bit glossy. But I like that. And of course, I'm now going to finish off the rest of Marine. And you can see a squad of 5 Reavers coming to the channel very, very soon, of course, as well. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Really appreciate the support. Please check out the rest of the Deathwatch videos that are on the channel this week, and we'll hope to see you again very soon.